A beautiful period home in a quiet, leafy location is something that's very hard to find, but the family that have taken on the challenge of doing just that found their period restoration dream in quite an unexpected location. Property owners nationwide are on a mission to restore the original features in their homes. We'll follow the ups and downs as they reinstate the charm of bygone eras. And along the way, we'll be exploring great design ideas and revealing the history of their homes. Today, we're in the historic city of Bath, following a couple as they restore their Victorian house back to its original grandeur. Whenever I'm in Bath, I fall in love all over again with the architecture. History really comes alive for me on these stunning World Heritage streets. If you're a young couple looking for somewhere surrounded by greenery, peace and quiet, somewhere safe to raise a young family, you probably don't go looking for that place in the middle of a world-renowned city. And yet that's exactly what the couple did who bought this house in the city of Bath. Now, it took a bit of looking for, and it needs a bit doing to it. Beata and Anthony Cosgrove recently bought this 4-bedroom house called Newbury in the beach and cliff area of Bath so that they could have their very own piece of countryside in the city. Anthony is a freelance educational consultant and Beata is now a full-time mum. They met 18 years ago whilst travelling. Beata is Polish, but when they got married, they decided to make England their home.
One of the reasons why we chose this house was because of the location. It's kind of hidden away from civilization almost, you would say. Basically, from every window in the house, when you look at, you see greenery. It's very quiet. Basically, you are within a city, but you could be a small country house in a village, somewhere outside Bath.
Newbury needs a lot of work to return it to its Victorian origins. So Anthony and Beata and 8-month-old Julia are avoiding the dust and dirt by living in his mum's flat nearby. With a bit of love and attention, Newbury could become the perfect family home.
One of the reasons we wanted to move from London to Bath was we thought this would be a much better place to have and raise a family. I mean, it's got to be one of the nicest places in Britain to live, really.
Finding the right house can be a long, slow process. For Anthony and Beata, it took almost 3 years, but they feel they've struck gold.
It was probably about the 120th, I think. I mean, we stopped counting, but we did see a crazy number of houses. So we were delighted when we finally found this one.
My mum, when we walked in, we had kind of feeling that this is the right house for us.
It was a period property, not a sort of pristine, boutique-y Georgian house, which we didn't want to go for and knew that we wouldn't really be able to afford. It had nice high ceilings, and it's got enough light and enough period features, a lot of the things that we were looking for.
The house is deceptively large, 4 bedrooms and a bathroom upstairs and 3 receptions and a kitchen and utility on the ground floor. Structurally, the house is sound, but most rooms need replastering and the kitchen and bathroom need total refits. With a house this size, it can help to focus on one room at a time so as not to feel overwhelmed. Anthony and Beata would like to get the sitting room sorted as their first priority and have a budget of £5,000 to do it.
We'd like it to be as similar as possible to the way it was when it was first built. Although we're not going to go down the route of sort of buying fake Victorian furniture and furnishings and that kind of thing.
I believe this would be a dream house.
Beata and Anthony already know some of the history of their house, but are keen to expand this knowledge, which will hopefully strengthen the growing bond they already have with their home.
It would be very interesting to know more about the people who lived here and what they did.
I would love to be taken back to Victorian times and see this place, you know, how they lived here, you know, what they did in the house and what kind of choices they made. That would be interesting.
I've come to meet Anthony and take a look around this grand Victorian gem and to find out exactly where he needs some help and inspiration.
I don't want too much stuff.
This is a beautiful house.
I'm glad you like it.
There's a lot of work ahead of you, but nonetheless, a very exciting house to own. You've only just recently bought it, yes?
That's right, I've just literally had the keys a couple of weeks, so we haven't done anything to it as yet. But yeah, we're very excited at the prospect of doing it up, and obviously there's lots and lots to do.
Unusually for Bath, it's not Georgian.
There are hundreds of Georgian properties in Bath, but you pay a huge premium if you want to live in a Georgian property. You get tiny little boutique-y houses with very, very small rooms, and they're very pretty, but I don't think they'd be very practical, really. We wanted something a bit larger.
The view looking out over Bath, was that an important factor when you bought it?
It was certainly one of the selling points, yeah.
Well, you can see straight across the Crescent from here.
You see the Crescent and the Abbey, yes, so you do get a great outlook.
If you go up to the upstairs bedroom, you can see the views. When you come down and out the front door, you feel like you're in a sort of wooded glade.
That's right, it's quite enclosed, and one of the things we like about the property is that we haven't got any roads going right past, and you can walk down the hill into town.
It's extraordinary. Probably actually about 12 minutes in and about 20 minutes back.
It's a bit uphill. Carry shopping, yeah.
All right, so what's the plan then? Because it's a big setup, and interesting that you've got a few things left around. Fire opening, obviously, and the tiled floor. The little bell, the servant's bell, which is particularly lovely up on the wall there.
It's a nice feature, it still works, 120 years on.
Very nice. An interesting little rear staircase, two-staircase house.
Yeah, it's a bit of an oddity, that. I mean, I'm guessing this is so that the maid could run up and down and get into the kitchen without waking people up.
Are you thinking of having staff?
Oh, of course. No, I wish.
I don't know about staff, but they'll certainly need an army of decorators to bring this place up to scratch. I love this hallway, it's fantastic. It's on such a grand scale, isn't it?
Yeah, it's much more spacious than you usually get.
Tour over, let's take a look at the main event, the sitting room. This is sort of a bit monolithic, isn't it?
It is, it is. It's a sort of concrete version of Stonehenge, really. We could quite happily get rid of that and replace it with something more original.
The couple also want to restore the original wooden floorboards, but over the years they've been varnished in 3 different finishes. It'll take a lot of work to get them back to their former glory.
Before, there was a huge, great big Chinese carpet which covered the black area, and the only exposed bit would have been this lighter kind of pine here. This
type of varnish is particularly unpleasant and ugly when you try and sand it off, because what happens is, as you sand it, the heat from the sander gets into it and it melts it, and it sticks to the sandpaper, and then dries like glass. So you literally put on a sanding, and then you look and it's gone like glass and it's not sanding anymore. So it's a very arduous and boring job, but if you were to do the entire floor over, you could actually mow this all down to being one big, beautiful colour. So the main project is the sitting room, but Anthony has one more original feature they want help with. Looks like you've bought some furniture already.
Well, we haven't bought it. It was here when we came to see the house, and it was here when we got the keys and moved in. It's a nice-looking piece, other than the fact that it's not fit to be sat on.
Yes, it's entirely fallen apart, hasn't it?
But if we can get it fixed at not too extravagant expense, I'd be happy to do so.
I'm not sure how much of this is actually salvageable. The beautiful wood is salvageable. And it's funny, isn't it? Because this area in here is actually not in bad nick. OK, well, I look forward to seeing how you manage to pull this all together. It's a big job, but I have to say, first and foremost, congratulations. You've bought yourself a beautiful piece of history.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you like it.
I do. Quite jealous of it, actually. With every room needing attention, Anthony and Beata will have to get cracking with the work if they plan to move into their new family home soon. The sitting room will be the first project. They want to replaster and decorate, replace the existing fireplace and recondition the floorboards and get that chaise longue restored as a centrepiece. Taking on a house renovation when you already have an 8-month-old baby girl is loading up the responsibility cart a little for me, but then it's a motivation too if you think about it, because baby's got to have somewhere to live. They need to get on with it. Either way, it's a beautiful house with a heap of potential. Just look at that view. Who wouldn't want to live here? Coming up, I take Anthony and Beata on a Victorian-inspired shopping trip, but they prove hard to please. Maybe a chandelier?
Really could live without chandeliers. I'd have to go around in a crowd.
You don't like marble?
No, it's too posh.
And it takes something rather classy to finally give them the inspiration they need.
But I think I could live with this more than I could with anything else that we've seen.
Well, that's interesting.